Well, today I am bringing you the horror stories of lending world. Laurie
Mhm.
from Nations Lending is going to share some experiences that she's had, and we're going to talk about some we've had together. And if her team, who is here as well in the background, wants to pop in and share as well some of their experiences, that's awesome. The cool thing about you, Laurie, and your team is that I have brought you some really horrible situations with some of my client buyers. And I have to say, it's not the only reason I work with you, but I know that you will get their deal done. You'll get them to close. So we're going to just talk about that. And we kind of, before we even started, talked about some really great examples. So, and I know it's before the holidays, and it's actually really a good time to talk about this because if you are looking to buy a home after the first of the year, or you're in the process of buying a home right now, it's the holidays. I got to buy stuff for my family. I see all this stuff on sale. Oh my goodness, credit cards, buying, spending the cash, your down payment, your closing money. And that's going to be a problem, right?
Absolutely. Well, don't forget, you get 10% off at Lowe's if you open a credit card. You get 10% off at J.C. Penney's, et cetera, et cetera. All those dings start really affecting your credit.
Yes, because they're going to reflect on your credit score. And it's just you have to remember, what do you want more? To spend a lot of money at Christmas and have debt next year to pay off? Or do you want to buy a house and gift your family with an amazing home for the holidays?
Yes,
Personally, I'm going to go with the house.
I'd rather have the house too.
Totally, totally. However, we know from experience that is not exactly what happens. We closed a deal, a couple of them last year, that were a little challenging. We have one gentleman, he and his family are coming up with their 1 year. Was there anything that went on with that property? He flies helicopters.
Well, he was very picky, and I appreciate that. He's buying a home for his wife and baby. But there was peeling paint. There were some bizarre issues with the seller, was an absentee seller. So we had to hurdle through
Hmm.
that one. He was an exemplary buyer. The property had situations.
True that, true that. And we worked through that. We actually had, it was so funny. So we had to have the buyer seller's agent was not really happy with me either because I had to go out there and take pictures of the not painted steps and deck off the back of the house. And she's like, "Well, he sent somebody out there to paint it." I'm like, "Well, they started, but it's not done." And then
I
we
don't even
had that, yeah, it was like,
I don't even know what to say on that
and
one.
then they finally did get it painted correctly, but it was just, those kind of things, and those impact your loan. But we also had another person who I believe purchased a car. I didn't even know this happened. You told me after the fact that they had bought a car.
That's the ultimate no-no when you're purchasing a house is no big ticket items. Well, I told you I was going to buy a car. Wait till after close of escrow. Those $1,200 a month car payments really impact how much you can.
1200. Oh my
$1,200 a
gosh.
month car payment. Yeah. And I do send out a do's and don'ts as we start the process. That is probably the number one sin is huge car payments that we find out after the fact.
That, yeah, it's on the do's and don'ts, and we will put a link in below so that you can link on it and print it out for yourself, because the whole point of today's video is to help you if you are thinking about buying a house, or you have a family member or a neighbor or a coworker and they're talking about buying a house, but they're also talking about buying a car. And here's the thing to keep in mind is that if you're thinking about buying a car and you have a lot of debt already, but you qualify for the car, what may happen?
Well, the number one thing we see, is it throws your debt to income off kilter. Okay. So what was an approve eligible now all of a sudden cannot go the path that we were looking at.
So tell me what happens with that.
Well, we try and
Besides giving you
we
nightmares
try
and
and we
headaches.
try and finagle through everything, but there has been situations where it put a hard stop on the purchase. The other thing, when you're buying a car, that dealership is going to shop your financing with 6, 7, 8 different Financial institutions, your 720 score, which is great, could be a 630 now. And we've seen all,
Oh,
because
wow.
there's a difference. There's a hard pull and a soft pull.
Right.
The finance companies, when doing a vehicle loan or a credit card, is going to do hard pulls.
So say what that means, the difference between a hard and a soft pull.
A soft pull is where we just go in and do a general inquiry. It doesn't affect your credit. It's not going to be derogatory whatsoever for I call it peekaboo. When you do a hard pull credit, it's typically a tri-merge, three different credit bureaus.
Okay.
That does report on your credit bureau as a pull.
And every time that you do that, it stays on your credit report how long?
Approximately 90 days is where I mean, it can stay on longer, but that 90-day window
Okay.
is an issue. You know, when somebody's looking for a mortgage, they're typically going to talk to a couple, two, three different lenders in a 30-day span. Those are not considered derogatory.
Right. That's what I was just going to ask you about because I know that people do like to, and you should shop for your mortgage because you do want to get the best rate you can
Hmm.
get. You want to be working with a reputable company, which is why I love Laurie and
Thank
her
you.
team because they have never failed my clients. They have always been great at communicating, keeping in touch, and problem solving. I mean, you guys have worked weekends, evenings, holidays, if necessary, when there's been one of these lovely nightmares occurring. It's like, oh my gosh. So, if you're shopping a mortgage, do it in 30 days and then pick one and you got to stick with them.
I would say that, and I'm going to be pretty blunt from
Please
a
do.
security standpoint. You should, if not, be giving out your social security number over the phone to somebody that you cannot walk into their office the next day. So I'm a big proponent of going local.
So am I. I totally
Once
love
you're
my
giving out your
locals.
social security number to XYZ mortgage company, a big national, you know who I'm thinking of off the top of my head,
Mhm.
it just starts a chain reaction of phone calls. The credit bureaus do sell your information, just so you know. So
Yeah.
the moment a hard mortgage inquiry is done, the credit bureaus have sold that to every mortgage company in the country. So
Yeah.
our team does some security measures to put a stop to that before a
Oh,
hard pull is ever done. We do it for
nice.
every single client, and we have for years,
That's
to
nice.
not generate. It's called a trigger lead. We had a client. My team's over there smiling. She got 14 phone calls in one day while she was at work.
No way.
So yeah,
My
that's so
God.
be very cautious when you're giving out your social security number, and know that could just create a huge domino effect. Nobody needs to be getting that many phone calls while they're trying to work, and it was unsolicited. And until Congress changes the trigger law, you know, we're going to keep taking those security measures for our clients.
So that's kind of like a horror story that the clients need to know could happen to them because and this is I didn't know that. That's
It's
really annoying to say the least
we had a client
and
come in.
invasive.
We had a client come in a couple of days ago, one of our favorite local people here, well known in the community. He showed me his cell phone, over 200 missed calls. 200,
Seriously.
like, and yes, he did shop his mortgage, even though he knew he was going to use me. But wife is like, let's look at this company. And you just, like I said, my process, your thought process with your social security number is you need to be careful with it, and you need to be able to walk into that person's office. Again, go local if you can, because that
Mhm.
information is not being thrown everywhere on the World Wide Web.
That's good. Well, the other thing is working with local lenders, which I highly recommend because honestly, we have very unique we're country. We're rural, we're country, we have wells, we have dirt roads, we have unique things that happen that out of state lenders, even though they're licensed to work in Arizona, just don't understand. And they can really stress out the clients. They can be asking for things that are just not appropriate. I actually had a lender, my clients shopped for their mortgage person and they picked somebody, I think it's South Carolina or something, some southern state, and in the course of going through everything, they actually said, we need a copy of the Binzer and the home inspection report. And I said, oh, no, you don't. We aren't giving that to you. That's not what we do in Arizona. And they fought me on that. And I had to go up the ranks and I had to bring in my broker to fight that one because it's like, that's not how it works here. And we're not giving you that information. And because it's none of their business. You know, if my clients want to negotiate the roof repair outside of escrow or painting outside of escrow and it passes the appraisal, then they should be able to do that. If you don't, it can hold up the loan, right?
Absolutely. And, we're a national company. I have a loan I'm working on in Florida right now and South Carolina. Funny that you bring it up.
Well, be sure to ask for that,
But
Windsor.
no, I won't, because it's the property of the homeowner. But knowing that I cannot service that area to my full capability because their laws are different,
Hmm.
being a national company, I call up my friend that lives in that state.
Okay,
This
cool.
license, can you take care of my VIP for me? It's
There you
the
go.
client's best interest.
Totally. I
I
completely
I
agree.
can do it. It's not the client. It's not putting my best foot forward. And
I
that's
agree.
why when you have a company that's is diverse as we are, being able to pick up that phone and have somebody that knows that state's laws is pretty
Hmm.
important.
I think that that makes so much sense. And that's part of why I choose, even though I could work the whole state of Arizona, I choose not to. I only serve areas that I know well because I agree. I don't think that you're serving your clients well if you decide you can do everything because you don't know the rules, you don't know the subdivisions, you don't know things about the area that could definitely be a big barrier in getting the client to close, whether it's the seller or the buyer. So, horror stories. So, you talked about credit reports. Don't go out and buy a big vehicle
Be
and have a
cautious.
1200. Who wants a $1,200 a month car payment? Anyway, I sure don't. I'm like,
I don't
mm-mm.
either.
It's like, right, right, okay. The other one, I'm trying to remember which one we talked about. Oh, I took out a personal loan.
Oh goodness, I know that one.
Yes,
Not only did our beautiful client take out a personal loan in the middle of a transaction of, I believe it was $14,000,
something like that,
he
close.
gave it to a friend that was in need in the middle of a transaction. So that did create a snowball. Again, be so protective of your credit when you're going through that process.
Absolutely.
And this person would give the shirt off of his back, but it created a lot of stress for him. And talking about credit, when you're in the mortgage process, up until the day you fund, your lender is going to know if somebody else is pulling credit, whether it be Lowe's, another mortgage company, a car dealership. We all have to stop what we're doing. We can be at Loan Docs and have to stop, have the client address, why is this company pulling your credit?
Wow.
It happens so often, and people don't know that. Be careful when you're handing out your social security number, because there is always something, a domino effect. And
Wow.
if you did go to Lowe's and save 10% on that new washing machine and dryer for your home, now
Don't.
now we need to stop and get a payment coupon. And those payment coupons only come out every 30 days typically. So,
Oh, wow.
while I try and guide my clients as best as I can, I think just not handing out your digits during the process at all. That's one thing. The other big thing, employment change.
Oh, my God. Oh, yes. I have a horror story for that one,
Yeah,
too.
do not
Don't,
quit your job in the middle of
don't.
the process. But
I've
I got a
had,
promotion. Please, if you're going to do it, talk with your loan officer.
yes,
And
yes. Can I do this? Should this? Now, there are some caveats to that.
there
If
always,
it's within the same company and it's a promotion, you're okay, right?
it doesn't even have to be in the same company, but the underwriter is going to be, we're going to want the offer letter. So
True.
what if I get an offer letter? Let's say I'm working for City of Prescott, and let's say I'm going to go to City of Cottonwood. Okay, on the employment letter, there's a condition that says you have to pass this, and your probationary period. Those little things could be interpreted as a wrinkle. Anything is overcomable. Okay.
Right.
But it's going to create a little more stress on a homeowner that thinks that they just did something fabulous. It just stops the ball, is what happens. And we all as a team in the background have to regroup, and anything can be done as long as it's not part-time. Going from full-time, oh, I'm going to go to variable hours, we're going to go to part-time employment. That could be a deal killer right there.
Okay, good to know.
Could be.
So that, let me see, I'm looking at this. Yeah, don't open any new credit. Basically, the recommendation is always whatever bills you were paying when you applied for your loan, keep paying those bills.
Please.
Do not, do not, yeah,
Please.
please. Do not add any new ones. Do not change anything. I had a client, what was it? It was just recently. And I'm trying to remember what it was. I cannot remember what it was but here's the cool thing. So my client was buying this house, and actually the builder was right next door, and he was sweet. He was so good at helping us with different things. It was a brand new house. And the builder actually told my client, "You should call your agent before you decide to do that." So he did. And I said, "No, you can't do whatever it was he wanted to do with his money." I'm like, "No, you can't." And I called up the builder and said, Thank you so much." Because obviously they wanted to close the deal. But he's like, "I don't think you should probably do that with your money before we close." I wish I could remember what it was. And he was great. He was like, my client was like, "Okay, I'll wait. I can wait." I think it was probably buying a washer and dryer because there wasn't any at the house. And I'm like, "I know there's really good deals right now, but just wait. Just wait. Wait till Cyber Monday," because he was closing before Thanksgiving. So I was like, "Just wait. It'll be good."
We had
So,
one. We had one. My client went in to get all new furniture for her home, her and the husband. And thank
oh
God, this is
no.
a true story. Thank God they go, "Who's your loan officer?" And they said, "Well, it's Laurie." And they go, "Laurie's going to come down here and beat me if you if you open up a new trade line." The other fun thing, we were in mattress money. It's Christmas.
Oh,
Merry
yes,
Christmas,
yes.
everybody. Mattress money, Santa just dropped $5,000 in your lap, and it cannot just bounce into your account if you're about to close on a home. We don't want to, that's we don't care. The government cares very
Right.
much.
The government cares.
We don't care. The government does. So let's say that you have a lot of cash, that you keep at home in a safe. A lot of people do.
Exactly. They really do.
It's everybody's got a little safe or mattress money. You want to have that, make sure that that's in your bank account long before you're going to close on your home, because it just doesn't create those red flags in the middle of a process as
Well, and
well.
also only small deposits, because I think there's a line in the sand where the government is flagged on
Correct.
certain amounts of
Correct.
deposits that because again, they want to make sure that it's not being ill-gained. Ill-gained.
Correct. Correct.
So if you have that mattress money, which I have had a lot of clients that when it comes to down payment money, like, "Oh yeah, I've got this money at home. I have the money." And I say, "Where is it?" And they'll say, "At home."
At home.
And I go, "Okay, we need to get it in the bank, but in small increments if we have the time." And that's part of the problem. Sometimes they don't tell you soon enough.
True.
So we have to make sure that it's going in increments that don't trigger the government to go, "Where did that money come
Correct.
from?"
Correct. Well, and older clientele, me included, we all like to keep a little money at the home.
Well, of
That's just
course.
how we are.
Of course.
But it's a no bueno when you're trying to purchase a home.
Exactly, exactly. And so again, just planning ahead, and that's the conversation to have with your agent, myself, and with your lender, like Miss Laurie, because we can coach you through that. Even before you start like looking for houses, you can start putting that money in the bank. You can start kind of planning things that you're going to need to do so that when it comes time to actually, we've got your house under contract and the loan is cruising along, that we can avoid those bumps in the road, because those bumps in the road cause a lot of unnecessary stress, a lot of anxiety, a lot of anger and frustration, and that's not good. I mean, buying a house in itself is so stressful, and to add all of those unnecessary financial bumps in the road, we just ask you, please, to make your life better, to make everything go smoothly, because we want you to get your house. We want you to go, "Yay!" We want to give you the gifts. We want to be excited and celebrating with you. So we're doing this and telling you this to try and keep the road as smooth as possible. Now, there's always bumps, like, okay, let's talk tax returns. What can happen with tax returns?
Oh, she's just bringing up all the holiday spirit. Um,
I'm trying.
we had a client that we thought we were just smooth sailing and everything. Again, exemplary people. I love them. But the tax returns they gave us were not the ones they gave to the federal government. And
Oops.
I don't think it was intentional. They did an amended return. Well, those little things. And hopefully, we're blessed. I love my team, But the amount of great loan professionals in our community, I would say we're pretty blessed. We have great clients,
Totally.
we are blessed to have,
Totally.
I have the best friendly competitors. Is just walking through that, being that one-on-one. We love to meet with every client and having that sit down face to face. I know a lot of people don't want to. We like to curbs a lot of the anxiety because the underwriter
Right.
is not sitting in a dark dungeon somewhere. They don't want to have to ask either. And they really are your advocate. So I think the do's and don'ts when we can sit down and go over those in person will really take a lot of stress. And our team does try and take that stress off of a home buyer because it's supposed to be exciting, not entirely stressful.
Exactly. Exactly. We don't, and actually, you just made me think of this is that every time I meet with a new client, a buyer, I give them a folder about, buying homes and, information that's helpful for them. I just want to make sure that I start making sure they always get the do's and don'ts. I go over things and I know that their mortgage lender does. But again, I think having that in front of people and reminding themselves, I mean, we're not trying to limit your life. We're just trying to get you into your home. And then after you get into the home, you can go buy your washer and dryer. You can buy the refrigerator. You can go get a new car. You can change jobs. You can quit your job. We don't care because then we hope you get a new job to keep paying your mortgage on your new house. Changing of marital status. I don't think I've ever had that happen.
Oh, I have.
Tell me
And I
about
am
that.
pretty blessed. I have to say, my clients,
Wow.
they really keep me on my toes and laughing sometimes. So
I'm like,
we
okay.
did. We had, and I love working with my veterans. And I had two veterans come
Yes,
in.
we love our veterans.
We had a
We love
veteran
our
come in
veterans.
and apply with his significant other. They're applied. They're married. Within a week into the transaction, we realized they're married to two other people.
Oh
So
my
I can't
gosh.
make that up, but it's funny.
No way.
Yes. So, again,
How does that happen? What were they thinking? I'm sorry. It just blows my
you,
mind.
you're starting a new life. But I mean,
Oh,
if
okay.
I do giggle
So
a
they
lot,
were going to get married,
but they were already married to somebody
but they
else.
were already,
They were
were
going
they in
to
the
they,
process?
I think sometimes you have to stop and wonder and scratch your head.
Like,
But they had
what?
some business to take care of. So
Okay.
in the state of Arizona, you cannot purchase a house without in a community property state without your spouse knowing. So another hard
Right.
stop. But again,
Yeah.
we have some really fun clients
That's
that keep us giggling. But
that's a good one.
again, the importance of if you have the time, your lender wants to sit down and go over some things so that it's an easy button
Absolutely.
the whole way through. And again, the
Yes.
team will take as much off of your back as possible so that the process is actually fun.
Yes, yes. Well, and sometimes things happen, like I was sharing with you before we started, Laurie. Some things happen that are outside your control. And I personally I'm in the process of buying a house. This is a number of years ago. And I got laid off my job, literally, I think just a few days before closing.
Cool.
My house that I lived in was already sold, like it was closing right after. I'm like, so I had no place to live. They shut down, it stopped. The whole thing just stopped because I had been laid off. And I thought I was going to have the summer off. I thought, great, I've got this huge severance package. It was awesome. I was like, wow, this is great. And it was the summer, my kids were off school, and I was just going to have a great summer. Instead, I ended up living in my sister and brother-in-law's basement with my kids, frantically, number one, looking for a job and getting that nailed down, and second, looking for a house. And it was like it was the nightmare. It was a nightmare because by the time that all got transpired, we'd gone from we're going to close in June to we didn't close on a new house until January of the next year. And it was not a good experience. It was horrible. So
Unforeseen things happen.
it does. It
That's
does.
not your fault, and unfortunately, sometimes those occurrences happen. It's not our buyer's fault. Life happens, and we were talking about some of our clients during COVID. What a nightmare!
Yes.
And thank God we're past that now. Finally,
Yes.
just
Thank God.
unforeseen circumstances happen to great people, and it's just having a great team behind you that can work through it with you.
Right. So you just got to know when life happens, your lender, if you've got a great lender, which I highly recommend,
Thank
Laurie,
you.
obviously, and you've got an agent who's not going to bail on you, we will hang in there. We will stay with you and work with you till we get you into your house. And I've had people that, they haven't been able to get a new loan because they were attached to another loan. And the people that they like bought property together would not release her, so to speak, from the loan. They wouldn't refinance so
Mm-hmm.
that she could be released
Mm-hmm.
to go get her own house, but they basically kicked her out of the house that she bought with them.
That's horrible.
And that was pretty shapoopy.
Yeah.
And so again, those kind of things, really being aware of who are you agreeing to buy a house with, or lend money to.
Mm-hmm.
I had one that just closed, and it was on the selling side. He inherited the property, and somehow title, and I don't know how they found it because there was nowhere anywhere else. They found that the owner of the house, my client's dad, had borrowed money from his father, so my client's grandfather, and I don't know how they found it, but they're like, because it's an inheritance thing, we have to try and figure out, can we give the money to you, the seller, or do we have to give it to another family member? So somehow they figured it all out behind the scenes. But I'm telling you, title agents and lenders are miracle workers sometimes, what they can do behind the scenes. And I, in particular, speak highly of my local lenders. And the reason I say that is because I have personal relationships with you guys. You have personal relationships with me. It's small towns. We know each other. And if bad things happen, it can really damage our careers, our professions, our reputations are very important to us in these small towns. So when I recommend a local lender, they're going to do their very best for you. If there's anything they can do to get you into a house, they're going to do it because that reflects well on them for future referrals, for future business. I mean, it's just, we all work together. I'm trying to think. We've talked about the cars, credit lines. Oh, missing payments. Oh, bad, don't do that. Missing payments. So I have a question though.
Mm-hmm. Anything.
Sometimes,
Sorry, I zoned out
sometimes
there for a
on
second.
credit reports, things show up and there are, so say for instance, there's a missed payment
Mm-hmm.
or a late payment. And the underwriter or whoever asks about it, like, what happened? Why is this here? But you were good, good, good. And then boom, what happened? I do know, and I remember this, and I'm pretty sure you guys still do it, that there can be like, you can write an explanation as to what happened, like somebody got sick, blah, 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 lost a job, things like that to try and explain what happened with that little blip in your credit
Well,
report. As long as your credit report's good now.
yeah, the underwriter's not gonna to condition over condition for something like that. However, if you had a housing event, a missed rent payment is could definitely affect your credit if they're reporting, just like a delinquent mortgage, and that could be an issue. Everybody has life that they go through. Unfortunately, when you have those events, it terrorizes your credit score, and that credit score, everyone's like, well, I see that the best rate is, a rate interest rate is based on your credit score, the loan amount, the loan type, and your down payment. So even
Okay.
something so small, we were laughing because I have somebody that has a fine at the library for $6. They reported it. I laughed about it,
No
but they
way.
did. This was a client that was relocating from Alaska, but it's like your library books are overdue.
Gotta
But
rip it off your
yeah,
debt.
but yeah, the underwriter is not going to, if it's not a housing situation and it's not a continual thing, they're not going to be all over that. However, if anything having to do with a housing late or secured type loan, yeah, they're going to raise our eyebrow. Now
Mm-hmm.
we have to make sure that we're still eligible to purchase because
Ah,
conventional VA, FHA, USDA have their own guidelines on what they will be the amount of acceptable housing rates. So,
okay.
you know, if you have a rental company, which I think this is great that they're reporting to credit bureaus, you got to keep those up to date too. And they don't
Got
typically
it.
report until you're 30 days delinquent. So
Right.
hopefully you take that as a priority to get that done, taken
Okay.
care of.
Okay. So pay your rent, pay your mortgages. Did we miss anything? Oh, disputing any island. Da, da, da.
Mm,
Oh, I had a weird situation that occurred, and that almost derailed the whole purchase. I had a couple. who had a son who was deployed.
Hmm.
And while he was deployed, they were his power of attorney here in the States to pay bills and take care of things and stuff like that. And when he came back, he had an issue with a bill. He challenged it, got it taken care of, all the paperwork, whatever. And then my clients were applying for a loan to get their house, and somehow his debt and this issue came up on their credit report.
Then they probably
And
co-signed.
and I don't know, I don't think that they did. They had to get paperwork and things and get their son involved, and he had to present the paperwork saying, no, this was never their debt, this was never their issue, they were just my power of attorney while I was deployed.
Hmm.
It was quite the dramatic situation. So again, if you're co-signing for people, if you're somebody's power of attorney and you're filling in for them, say they're sick or whatever, you got to be on it. You got to just make sure it's like it's going to come up. I hate to say this. It's like you can't hide anything. And I'm going to say this. My significant other says they count every hair on your butt. And I think that they do. It's like, but they need to know it's a huge investment. It's a huge amount of money that they're giving you, lending you, they're not giving it to buy a house. It's a lot of money. And it's an investment on the lender's part and on your part. And so they need to make sure that you are worthy of the money they're going to give you to buy this house, right? That's really the bottom line.
I think everybody's worthy to have a home.
To have a home, but
we have guidelines, and those
yes.
guidelines, we're talking about VA right now because she brought it up. VA has their own set of guidelines, different than Fannie or Freddie Mac. So while I want everybody to have a house, you have to be credit worthy. And ultimately, my name goes on that loan application the day that we fund that loan. So yes, we want credit worthy, and that's why we try and work hands on with our clients to get them ready. Homeownership's a big deal.
You make it happen.
Yep, we
do. You do. So any last words you'd like to share with, like, anything, words of wisdom for our people today?
I think the biggest thing, like we talked about, is protect your social security number. There is so much fraud going on. There's wire fraud, there's, you name it, there's all kinds of stuff. But I really, like I said, I would never hand out my social security number over the phone to somebody that I don't know, that I can't walk into their office the next day. And I do work all over the state. One day I might be in Yuma. The next week I'm in Tucson. I will travel wherever my veterans are, I'm going. But, and I think people have a right to be able to meet with their lender one-on-one.
If that's what they want to do, I think that's great. And I think some of these lenders that are just online and the only way that you ever interact with them is just a phone. I've had some really horrible experiences with lenders. And so I will always just recommend my local lenders, because I'm just going to tell you, the experience with them is always better, has always been better. They work harder for my clients because they're invested in the community, they're invested in the outcome, versus the out of state people, just they don't care. They've got however many others lined up behind them. And when you are more of a local lender, you don't have people applying to work with you from every state in the world here.
Well, do you want to be known by your loan number, or do you want to be known by your name?
Exactly.
And that's the difference,
Exactly.
And a lot of people go by address. Your address is how they
what's the address? Oh, okay.
Well, no, this is XYZ's client's home, and it's a big deal. We really advocate for our community, for sure.
I love that. And Laurie is a very big advocate for veterans in the community.
I am.
Talk about that a little bit, because that's a big thing that you guys do. And that's kind of how we got connected, was working with veterans, because we both, that's, a big part of our business is working with veterans, because this is a very veteran friendly community. So what else do? You and your husband are always doing things with the veterans.
Well, and we don't brag about it as much as we could, but I was a huge veteran advocate way before I ever became married. And I have a son that just got home from the military, and my thought process is if somebody's willing to give up their life for us, we should be
Right
ready to
on.
roll out a red carpet to get them into their home. And that's why we bend over backwards and work with some of the other veteran organizations here in town.
Such as? Who else do you
Well,
work
we
with?
love US vets. You and I just got a homeless veteran into a home, and
Exactly.
it's
Thank you,
not the
Lord
it's not
Jesus.
the first one we've done. I mean, and it's just being that lender that has a soft heart and is willing to help that
Yeah.
person. And that particular one, we just drove out a gift basket because he's homebound, so he'd have Thanksgiving.
Mm.
Those are the things we love to do.
Oh, that's what I love
Yeah,
about
yeah.
you.
We
You
have a
just have a big
huge
heart.
soft spot for our veterans in our community, and we have one of the largest veteran population in northern Arizona. And
Exactly.
it's just a way to say thank you. We do something special for all of our clients, but we really roll out that red carpet for our heroes.
Yep. They're awesome. They're awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much, Laurie. And if you're interested, there is another video I did in detail about the do's and don'ts. So we'll link that and you can look at it. And also, we're going to have Laurie's information below for you to reach out and you can contact her. If you're thinking about buying a home or you know someone that is, I definitely highly recommend Laurie because I have never, and I mean this, and I've been working with you for many years now, ever had a bad experience with Laurie and her team. It's just been, oh, every time I know she's a lender, I am thrilled to pieces because I know it will go well. So with that, yes, look below, subscribe, reach out to Laurie if you have questions, and yes, we'll have the do's and don'ts linked below as well.